So we don't really necessarily need to raise money right now. But the reason we want to raise money now because is we think it's a great opportunity, and also because we have a project that we want to finance. A bit more on that on the next slide. So far, Findependent has remained independent of any bank or other big company. So HPL, our partner bank, is not invested into us. It's just a partner. This is important because sometimes people think they are a shareholder of us, which is not the case. Roughly half the company still belongs to the team around me and all the others. So this is also good because, like, I think it's important that the people who actually do the work on a daily basis, that they are really also into the company and have a high share in the company. And the rest of the shares, they sit with friends and family of me, private startup investors, some of them very well known, such as Roland Brack or Lukas Speiser, but also other private investors, and also with the investment company Backbone Ventures, who were the lead investor in a round in 2022.
Matthias, apologies if I
Yes.
chip in, but if you could just move your microphone a little bit. We have some issues on the sound quality. It's very kind of noisy.
Okay. Let's see if it's better. Is it better? No?
Not really. Not really.
Yes, yesterday was good.
Yeah.
How bad is it?
It's okayish, I would say. It's not great. It's okayish. Keep going for the moment.
Okay.
I don't think
apologies.
it can change.
I try to be to speak very clear, maybe also a little bit slower. So regarding the crowd investments, some key facts. There will be a pre-funding, which is exclusive for our customers, starting on the 1st of July for 3 days. And then there will be a public phase starting on the 4th of July for around 10 days. So if you are an independent investor, you will get pre-access. If not, you still have some time to become an independent customer, or you can also wait until the 4th of July and invest then. Our target is to raise 2 million or even a bit more. We can also increase the amount if we have the demand on it. And the minimum investment is around 500 Swiss francs, so the same as you need to invest into ETFs with us. And it's important, this is a one-time thing, so it's not like you cannot do a monthly investment or a standing order like you can do in the Findependent app. So this is really a one-time thing where you have a chance to invest once in Findependent as a company. And the pre-money valuation, since a couple of you had a question about it or asked what is the valuation, it's 2.4 million. It's pre-money, which means it's the valuation before the financing round. So it's what the company is worth before we raise the money. Afterwards, the so-called post-money valuation is then just the investment sum plus the pre-money valuation. We will hand out digital participation certificates, which are have no voting rights, but are otherwise exactly the same as ordinary shares. So you have the same information rights, and you also have the same financial rights regarding future dividends or a potential exit return. Maybe one question also, what are we going to do with the funding, with these 2 millions? We have plans to get a higher FINMA license, which will allow us to hold the accounts and the deposits for our customers ourselves. Currently, these are with our partner bank, and we want to hold them ourselves. We have written more about it on conda.ch, so you can read more about there. But this will not need, most of the money will not go into this license, but rather be spent over the next couple of years operating Findependent. So it will be used for salaries, marketing, and also the app development. I already mentioned it. So the minimum investment is around 500 francs, and also the corresponding maximum investment it's 50,000 francs. In between, you are absolutely free what amount you want to choose. The price per participation certificate is 33 francs, and this is the same price as our existing investors paid this spring. So you get exactly the same price as our investors paid, which is important. I think it's important to treat you the same as we treat the other investors. Depending on the amount you invest, you can also get rewards. So at 2,000, 5,000, 15,000, or 25,000, those are the different tiers of rewards that you can get, and the reward is basically a fee discount on the independent fee. So it does not matter if you only. I mean, you could also get a fee discount if you invest large amounts with us. So, but however, you don't. If you get such a reward because you become a shareholder of independent, it doesn't matter what amount you invest with us. You just get these lower fees corresponding to the table here. One thing that is was asked a lot, and I think I understand why, because it's just a very important question. How can you actually make money with this investment? Because it's important. It's not a donation, so you should get something in return for investing with us. But it's also important to mention that it's not like you don't get an annual interest or any guarantee of a repayment. So it's not like a saving account, but it's rather like a stock where the return depends on the company. Actually, it is a stock, but it also behaves like a stock for that reason. So the return really depends on the company's future performance, and the return can come in two forms. It can be either dividends or capital appreciation. So dividends is the distribution of profits, as you probably know, and this can only start once we are actually break even, and break even is planned for 2027. I will say more on that later. So starting from then, you could potentially get dividends. The amount of dividend, and if any dividend is paid out at all, is decided by the General Assembly. We don't know it yet. It could also be that initially the dividends are reinvested in the company to achieve higher growth and to achieve even higher dividends in the future. This is very often the case with fast growing companies. So this could also be the case with independent. But apart from dividends, you also can benefit from capital appreciation. So if we increase the number of customers, increase the AUM, increase our earnings, this increases the company value. And since you own a part of the company, this will also increase the value of your investment. Very important to mention here, the range of return that you can get is much wider than if you just invest in an ETF or invest with independent, even in several ETFs. So it's possible that you get a 10x return on this, but it's also possible that you lose, in the worst case, your entire investment, which both is not possible if you only invest in ETFs for a couple of years. So this is really important when you consider how much should I invest into independent. So startup investments are not suited to invest your entire retirement money into, but rather a small share, maybe 5% or 10% of your entire investment amount, because the potential return is very high, but the potential risk or loss is also substantial, and therefore I would recommend only invest a small amount into it. So this is how you can actually make money from the investment. And then second most asked question is, how can I get my money back, which is also an important question. Here again, it's a clear difference to ETF investments. If you invest into ETFs in our app, you can on any day say, I want 1,000 francs back, I want to have everything back, whatever. We're going to sell it on the next day, and you have it in a couple of days in cash on your account. And this is not the case for startup investments. So during the first 3 years, there's a so-called blocking period, which means that any sale requires the consent of independent. Um, in some cases we are open to give this consent, but it's not guaranteed. So it's probably better for you to assume that during the first 3 years you cannot sell it, or only in let's say very special emerging situations. After 3 years, you can sell it to another investors. Maybe you can sell it over a platform, but what is very unlikely to happen is that findependent will in any way be involved into this trading. And the reason is that because as a FINMA approved company, this would be very complicated from a regulatory perspective if we would start trading our own shares. So maybe we will facilitate it with a digital platform, but we will most likely not be involved as a market participant. So how you are able to sell it after 3 years, it's not yet clear, but there will certainly be a way, and you also have the right to sell it after 3 years, which is also important. For the majority of investors now, they will benefit in X years. It could be in 5, it could be in 10 years, it could also be in 2 or 3 years. Once we sell the company, you can also sell your share of the company. Or either we sell it to another company, or in the very best case, we go public, and then you can sell it on the exchange. But as I said, this is X years away, and it's probably more likely to be 5 years plus than less than 5 years. So this is important to consider. I would, and this brings me to the risk notes, which are also important. So first and foremost, this is no financial or investing advice. And as I mentioned before, in the worst case scenario, you could lose your investment completely. There is also a high potential return, but there's also the risk that you lose everything. And we would really only recommend to invest money that you are certain that you will not need during the next 5 years. Because as I said, the next 3 years you cannot really sell, and even afterwards, it will take some time until we actually can sell the company and you can co-sell your investment as well. Maybe also a word on the financial plan and the plan for future growth. On this graph, you can see the years that are already behind us and the years in the future. So from 2021 to 2023, you see the annual results. And those results are from our audited financial statements. So these are really audited results, which is important to mention. We will also have another loss this year and the next 2 years until we actually reach break even in 2025. And the goal is to have a profit of 2.3 million in 2028, where we expect to have reached 64,000 customers and 1.5 billion AUM. So it's still quite a way to get there. But when I look back how we get from 1,000 customers to now 13,000 customers, I think it's really doable. We have a strong position in the market, we have strong growth, and I really believe that we have here a realistic plan. Why do I believe that it's a great thing to invest in independent? It's because you get the 5 things that I have on this list here. We have a proven highly scalable business model. We have rapid customer growth that's even accelerated in 2024. We are a very lean company with attractive cost structure, which is important because that promises attractive margins even if we charge our customers low fees. We are a Swiss startup that also has a FINMA authorization, so it's not just a pure tech startup, but we are also a financial institution. We have a clear goal. We want to make investing the new saving, accessible and natural for everyone. And we are also value-oriented company, which I also like to mention here. So we really believe into building a product that is helping the customers, that is beneficial to the customers, not just making money with some kind of product, but rather offering great product that really offers value and also long-term value to the customers. And we have a clear plan with this higher FINMA license. I think it's a very, very exciting opportunity for our future development. And also, once we have this license, we have other plans to build things on top. But for the moment, this is our most important goal. So I think we have here 5 very compelling reasons what you get if you invest into Findependent. So the second last slide, maybe some important dates. I don't want to mention all of them, just the first two of them. What you can already do, and it's maybe good if you do it in the next couple of days, if you haven't done it yet, register on Conda. The earlier the better. Once you have done it, it's just done, and you don't have to do it on the 1st of July once you actually want to invest and decide on the number of shares that you want to buy, because you can also do it then, but we really strongly recommend to do it beforehand once you have a bit of time. As I said, on the 1st of July, the pre-funding start, which is exclusively for our customers, and then 3 days later, the crowd investing also starts for the public. One thing to finish the presentation is the team. On the right-hand side, you can see the independent team. We are still 7 persons, so it's really small, but it's highly efficient and with complementary skills, which allows us to really build a great product and scale it with a very limited number of people, which is important because due to that we also have lower costs. But on the left-hand side, you can also see that Independent is supported by very experienced people. To mention just 3 of them, Roland Brack, Professor Dr. Thorsten Hentz, who is also part of the investment committee, or also Lukas Speiser, who is also on the board of Independent. So we have really a lot of experience also behind it. And I think this is very important and is a good combination to have a small team, but a very experienced group of people who is also behind the company. That's it from my side. I think, Shari, you can move to the Q&A session and we jump into the questions.